Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And a Wednesday night edition of Inside the Headset. And Richie, Busby, and I were just sitting there having a big time talking, and we needed to be on the air and be on the show. There are no problems. It's just that Richie and I are sitting here having a conversation and just enjoying our friendship and the paths we've already traveled and the paths we're going to travel. Coach, let's move into high school football. How about that? And welcome to the show.
All
Well,
right, good to talk to you tonight, Short.
Helena currently 5-0. Alabama's a week behind us here in the state of Tennessee, so just a little throw off there. It's been a couple of weeks since we talked, but you're 5-0. You beat Chilton County 37-10, and you come away with a win this past Friday night, 35-14 against Pelham. Let's go back to the Chilton County game, 37-10. They got 10 points on you, and I'm not trying to beat up Chilton County, but let's go back and hit some of the high points in that game where you felt like the Huskies grew.
Well, going into that game, like last year we had to come back 21 points down in the fourth quarter to beat them in overtime at their place. And I think last year we were looking too forward to that Pelham game the next week. As we've talked about on air a little bit, the Pelham and Helena rivalry is huge because the two schools split 10 years ago, and it's literally a couple miles down the road. So it's a huge rivalry, and I think we got caught up in that last year. So Chilton County week this week, we did everything this year we did everything we could just to keep the focus on Chilton County. They got the number one player in our state, an outside linebacker, DeMarcus Riddick. They're talented all the way across the board, and over the 6 years I've been there, they always seem to play us really, really close. And but that game also usually is right before the Pelham game. So, we tried to avoid that little hurdle this year, and we did. We played well on both sides of the ball. That 10 points, 7 of those points were scored on our backups and some of our third-string guys late. So played a really clean game that game and took care of our business, and then moved on into rivalry week with Pelham.
And then, so injury-wise, where were you after Chilton County? Were you okay? Were you clean? Like you said, you were clean penalty, and you executed well. You got the win, but overall, how did the troops come out?
Yeah, we came out of the Chilton County game relatively healthy, just normal bumps and bruises. Had a big loss on our offense this past week against Pelham, but came out of Chilton County healthy.
Okay, then, like I said, so let's just go ahead and shift to Pelham, and then we'll go through some kids. You won 35-14. Talk about this past Friday night, a game that's more fresher on your mind.
Yeah, the great rivalry we have with Pelham. A lot of our parents at our school, they grew up going to Pelham High School, so it's an intense week. We put emphasis on this game 365 days a year. That was a standard that we had to get to when I first got there. The first year we played them, they just completely destroyed us, and then we have won every year since. So we've been able to do that. Jordan Washington had 30 carries for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
Played an outstanding game. Defensively, we played really well. Kind of lost our mind on one drive in the third quarter and missed a couple of tackles, and they got loose and scored. And they scored late on us in the final couple minutes on a pass. So, but overall, we played really well on both sides of the ball and dominated, the fronts on both sides, which was my biggest concern going into this game.
Where are you now? I mean, you're 5-0. You got Jackson Olin, of course, coming up. We'll talk about them in a minute. But, just speaking of Helena and stepping out, and even though you're very close to the team and stepping out and talking, what do you need to do, other than stay healthy, which is common sense? I mean, what are some of the things that keep you up at late at night about this Husky team and what you can do and what you think and where you think you can go?
Yeah, talking about the injuries, we've lost one of our starting receivers. We lost our backup running back the other night for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Hopefully he'll be back. But just from a team standpoint, I think, with probably every kid in plays high school football, every coach says this: we just got to find a way to not get complacent, to stay focused, and just keep working every day and not get ahead of ourselves. Looking down the road at our schedule, kids want to look at records and this and that, and start plotting out the plan of what's going to happen down the road. But and we've been able to do that for 5 weeks. If we can continue just to stay in the moment, work day by day and week by week, I think we're going to be fine. But it's been our biggest issue, especially last year, is we got off to a really good 6-1 start, had one hiccup, and it just lingered in our locker room for the next 2-3 weeks, and we just couldn't get it off of us. So, not falling in that trap again is something that worries me. But I don't think we will if we'll just, stay focused on these weeks as they come at us. This is homecoming week here, so the coach's worst nightmare, every year. And everybody asks, well, how do you think you're going to do? And I was like, well, 27 years I haven't been able to figure out homecoming week yet. So I don't think I will this week, but hopefully they'll rest enough up here late in the week, and we've tried to be simple with our game plan just to not overload them, and hopefully they'll come out and do what we need to do to win and move on to this big matchup next week with Briarwood.
Well, and you mentioned that's a great thing. You got to go out and take care of business. You still got to get the things done you need to get done in a game time situation with key players, get their reps, so to speak. But I think you were talking about a while ago. I mean, there's a difference in talking about it and putting action behind what you're talking about. And that's all you want. You're just wanting, I don't care for you talking about the situations and everything. Let's make sure that we're still doing all the things we need to do, whether it's in the weight room or being on time and all the little things that go into being a 5-0 football team.
Right, and the little things, like covering a punt last year against Calera, and with about 40 seconds to go in regulation, and the guy scores on us on the punt. It's just broke 4 or 5 tackles, and we just didn't do the little things. We didn't tackle how we were taught to tackle. We didn't pay attention to detail and finish the game. But you're right. We can talk to them till we're blue in the face. The ones that have to put into action are the players, and they have to hold each other accountable. And as the year goes on, those weight room sessions and those film sessions, and like you say, being on time, when you're having a really good season, will you continue to do those things, or is that complacency and big-headedness, or whatever you want to call it, is that going to get in the way of what our goal is of winning a region championship?
Well, and you got Jackson Olin, and then we're talking about that Briarwood game, and hopefully we'll be able to meet next week, or we will not meet next week because we're off. So, but we might as well go ahead and talk a little bit about the Briarwood. And I'm not trying to look ahead, Coach. It's just the way the inside the headset will run. But we're planning on trying to make the rendezvous. I got to have a couple of key players. I got to have a camera operator, and I need a color guy. And I'm working on Fiorella, as we were talking before we jumped on the air. So we're going to do everything we can. The rest of the pieces and parts will all be in place and waiting for me to get on air, and then they'll fall in. But we're looking to come to Helena, and I'll get a hold of the mayor, and we'll have an interview with him. But really looking forward to coming and watching that sunset over the Cahaba River.
Well, we're looking forward to having you. It should be a good game. It's a team that up until this week has won 3 in a row after starting out 0-2, but lost to a very good Clay Chalfa team who's ranked number 2 in 6A, and lost to 7A Spain Park. So quality opponents there that they lost to, and then now they've won 3 straight. They're playing really well. So we need to take care of this one Friday night and get in there Sunday and get to work on the Briarwood lines.
I've seen Clay Chalkville. I've done a game for Clay Chalkville. I have videotaped a game for Clay Chalkville. You ain't gonna believe that, but I have. I've done a couple of Alabama games.
Yeah.
But anyway, Coach,
right.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you next Friday night. Good luck this Friday night in your homecoming game against 0-5 Jackson Olin, and we will visit again with you on Inside the Headset.
Yes, sir. Good to talk to you, Stork. Go Huskies.
Take care.